So now we have our third Bible study. This is chapter 41 of Genesis all the way through Exodus 10. Starting with chapter 41, Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream, and this is 2 full years after Pharaoh's last dream. So 2 full years have passed, and Pharaoh places Joseph over all his house. See, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt, arrayed with fine linen and a gold chain. Joseph wives the Egyptian priest's daughter and has sons. Now Joseph is who everyone goes to during the famine. So Joseph's brothers, who put him in bondage and slavery, bow down before Joseph. And during this famine, God appoints Joseph to this station where he's providing for now his brothers, everyone, including his brothers. His brothers bow down to the earth and eventually drank with him and were merry with him. And now his father eventually speaks of Joseph. Surely he is torn to pieces, and I saw him not since. So his father still thinks his son is ripped to shreds. But Joseph has been feeding his brothers in Egypt, and he's soon about to learn of this. Joseph says unto his brethren, I am Joseph, doth my father yet live? Joseph goes more in depth, declaring it is God that made him ruler, and why they are there for corn. Joseph is yet alive and governor over all the land of Egypt. Father says he will see Joseph before he dies. Now God speaks to Jacob in a vision. Jacob, Jacob. Jacob, here I am, God says. I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will make you a great nation there. I will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also bring you back. Joseph will put his hand on your eyes. 70 persons of Jacob's household all came to Egypt. Now Pharaoh welcomes Jacob, tells him, settle your father and brothers in the best part of the land. They can live in Goshen. Jacob blesses Pharaoh, and Israel settles in Goshen, Egypt. So now they're settled in the best part of the land. And Jacob blesses Ephraim and Manasseh. May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh, his sons. So those are the blessings he puts on his sons. And now Jacob gives his last words on the days to come and burial instruction. Bury me with my father. Jacob's buried, and Egyptians mourn 70 days. So remember, he came with 70 people. They mourn 70 days. Joseph shows kindness to his brothers, and then Joseph dies at 110 and asks for his bones to be carried to the promised land. Now we're into Exodus. Israel is oppressed in Egypt. Pharaoh commanded, you must throw every son of the Hebrew into the Nile, but let every daughter live. So here we have where Moses will be floated down the river in a basket. And the ark is the actual word that King James uses, the ark floating down the river, and it has Moses. All the stuff is leading to the promise, God, the station that Joseph was appointed to, and now you have Moses' birth and adoption. So the daughter of the Pharaoh saw the baby weeping and had compassion. When Moses is grown, he kills an Egyptian, smiting a Hebrew. Now the Pharaoh heard this and sought to slay Moses, and Moses fled, and he went to Midian. Moses watered the flock of the 7 daughters of the priests, and after they were chased away by the other shepherds, Moses helps rescue them, and God remembers his promise. Now Moses arrives at the mountain of God, and an angel of the Lord appears in a flaming bush. And Moses takes off his shoes because God tells him he is on holy ground. Tell the children of Israel, I am, I am sent you. And the elders gathered of the children of Israel, and Aaron spoke the words spoken to Moses, and they believed and bowed. Pharaoh does not acknowledge the Lord, and that he has to let Israel go. So Pharaoh further oppresses the Egyptians. So now they're even being oppressed more than they were. And God confirms Pharaoh will let people go. God makes his name Yahweh known to Moses. The genealogy of Moses and Aaron are also discussed. Moses and Aaron do as the Lord commands, and the staff turns into a snake and also devours the magician's snakes because they try to show that they can do it too. But the Pharaoh's heart is hardened at this point. God is hardening the Pharaoh's heart because the Pharaoh wants to hold on to his slaves to build more of his great Egyptian pyramids and more of his kingdom. But because his heart is hardened, God is going to send more plagues to confirm that he is the one in control. So after this, the water in the Nile turns to blood. And then, after that, we have the plague of frogs. The frogs all over, getting into everything. And then we have the third plague, gnats. And there were gnats everywhere. And the magicians couldn't produce the gnats like they could the frogs. And, so now they said, surely this is the finger of God. But the Pharaoh's heart was hardened, so he didn't want any part of any of that. He continued to oppress the Israelites. And then you have your fourth plague, which is flies. And then after the flies come the death of the livestock, so disease. And then you have the boils on the people, and that was the sixth plague. And then you have the hail and storm, which is the seventh plague. And let's see. And you have the eighth plague, which are locusts, and they ate everything, consumed. The most locusts that was ever seen is what's written in the Bible. And they consumed all remaining greenery and plant. And the ninth plague was darkness. And Pharaoh actually tells them at this point, go worship the Lord, even your families, just leave your animals here. Because he's realizing that this has gotten out of hand. Now his heart is still hardened at this point, but this will lead into our next Bible study when God delivers his wrath and the Israelites are ultimately set free.